days as an organizer, a city council member, and now a brave public advocate. He has been dedicated to moving the needle to the right direction when it comes to finding the balance between civil rights and public safety. Audience, let's give a warm welcome to our public advocate, Jumaane Williams.
Peace and blessings, love and light, everybody. How you doing? Everybody good? Madam President, everybody who's here, as I mentioned, my name is Jumaane Williams, and I'm your public advocate. I'm excited, excited to be here. My brother, former Lieutenant Edwin Raymond, he's going to talk about his book and give an excerpt of the book, An Inconvenient Cop. One, I hate when they say that I'm fearless, I'm not afraid to step up. It's okay, I'm human, so I do have fear. What I try to do is match that fear with courage. And so that's what I encourage other people to do, because sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking. I don't want you to think something's wrong, but you still got to step up anyway. I just try to match that fear with courage. Every single time there's a discussion about anything around police reform, police transparency, the pushback is the same. It's always that the sky's going to crack open, black and brown people are going to fall from it, they're going to destroy the city. It never happens. And so I know a lot of people have seen what's happening on news with the How Many Stops Act and some bills that we had passed in the city council, the mayor vetoed, and thankfully the city council overrode that veto. But we had the same discussions over and over and over again, so I'm glad that's going to be going into effect. It's not actually preventing police work, it is a part of police work. It's very basic. I was very shocked at the pushback that occurred, because the person who pushed back the most actually supported the bills when he was running. That's another conversation for another time. But I am proud that we have people like Edwin Raymond, who decided to go into the police department and try to see if they can make some changes inside out. I always say that the issue around public safety is that we try to get our police to solve all the problems that we're not solving. And when you do that, it's not good for the police who want to come and do a good job like Edwin Raymond, and it's not good for the community that has so many issues that they have to deal with. And if we had dealt with all of them in the way we should have, then we wouldn't have needed our law enforcement to come up on the back end. And so the comments that I have around public safety is a holistic approach, understanding our law enforcement, our partners, and there's a job that we ask them to do, but we can't ask them to solve everything. And there's communities who have been historically disinvested, disenfranchised. And it's interesting because I always talk about where our funding goes. And people, for whatever reason, they always try to think these conversations are anti-police, and it's really not. It's just anti what's been going on in our community for a very long time. Because the communities that we deem the safest are the ones that have the most police presence, and they're the ones that lock up the most people. The communities that we deem the most safe are the ones that don't have law enforcement. I don't know if I said that right. Did I say that correctly? Yeah. The communities that we deem the least safe already have the most policing, and they're already locking up the most black and brown folks. The communities that we deem the most safe don't have the most law enforcement. And that's not because our law enforcement have a job to do, because those communities that we deem the most safe, they also have access to other things like housing, like medical care, like good food, schools that have nurses and programs in it. And it's never an excuse to allow people to commit crimes, but I want to make sure that we're morally correct when we're talking about accountability, that we're talking about actually the changes that we need to do, and we can't over-police communities that are sandwiched between real police violence and real street violence. That's supposed to be in, the police violence is supposed to be in response, and it doesn't stop it. So just a report just came out. They went from last year $4 million in overtime to $155 million in overtime in the subways, in the subway systems alone. And crime dropped outside of the subways more than it did in the subways. And I say that because I understand that agencies need access to what they need to, but what if the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene had access to the same overtime that the NYPD does? What if a lot of agencies had the same access? And that's the kind of conversation that we need to have. And what this book is about is what happens when we don't provide those fundings for other agencies and we just focus solely on law enforcement to solve these problems, the mess that we create. And I'm happy that I actually wish he was still in Department. We need people like him. But I'm glad that he did what he did, and I'm glad that he stepped out. And we gotta support him, because there's a price to pay when people step up and step out like our brother did. So you're going to hear from a lot of folks. I just want to come and open this program, and I hope you take whatever you learn and spread it, because there's a lot of conversations need to be had. Peace and blessings, love and light to you all. Thank you so much.